Welcome, dear learner. My name is Jessica, and this is Build Your English. I am so glad you are here with me today. In this episode, we are going to talk about one of the most important skills in communication, the ability to share your thoughts and to agree politely with others. We all know that speaking English is not just about grammar or vocabulary. It is about connection, about showing what you think and how you feel. When you can express your opinion clearly and kindly, people understand you better and respect you more. So today, we will learn 35 essential phrases that can help you express your ideas and respond naturally in conversations at work, at school, and in daily life. If you find this lesson helpful, remember to subscribe to Build Your English. It really means a lot and helps me continue making more lessons for learners like you. Now, let's begin with the first group of phrases that help you share your own thoughts and opinions with confidence. When you want to start expressing your opinion in a gentle and natural way, you can simply say, "I think." This phrase works in almost every situation. For example, "I think this movie is amazing," or "I think we should start earlier." It is short and direct, but it also sounds polite. When you want to sound a little more thoughtful or formal, you can use "in my opinion." For instance, "In my opinion, learning English every day is better than studying for hours only once a week." This phrase shows that what you say comes from your personal reflection. Another way to express your view is "from my point of view." It adds a small feeling of perspective. For example, "From my point of view, teamwork helps us grow faster." It tells people that you respect that others may see things differently. You can also say, "Personally, I believe," when you want to show that your statement comes from personal values or experience. Personally, I believe that confidence is something you build through small daily actions. This phrase adds warmth and honesty. Sometimes, when you are not completely sure, but you want to share a feeling, you can say, "It seems to me that," for example, "it seems to me that people learn better when they feel relaxed." It sounds polite and thoughtful, especially in discussions. Another phrase with a similar tone is, "as far as I'm concerned." You can use it when you want to show your position gently. As far as I'm concerned, honesty is the best policy. It signals that you are expressing only your personal view, not a universal truth. When you want to sound friendly and conversational, you can say, "I'd say that." For example, "I'd say that this idea could really work." It sounds spontaneous and natural, just like in everyday conversations. Sometimes you want to clarify or explain what you mean. In that case, you can use, "What I mean is that," for example, "What I mean is that practice matters more than perfection." This helps the listener follow your thoughts easily. There are also times when you want to sound honest or open. You can say, "To be honest, I find online meetings tiring." This phrase gives a personal tone, but remember to use it kindly, not to sound rude. When you want to express your perspective simply and clearly, you can say, "The way I see it." For example, "The way I see it, learning English is like training a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets." This phrase sounds natural in both casual and professional talks. You can also use "I suppose" when you want to show that your opinion is a bit uncertain or flexible. "I suppose we could try a different method next time." It's a humble way to share an idea without sounding too strong. If you are unsure but want to contribute, you might say, I'm not sure, but I think, for example, I'm not sure, but I think the deadline is next Monday. This keeps the tone soft while still joining the discussion. Another very natural expression is, if you ask me. For example, if you ask me, everyone should travel alone at least once in life. It sounds confident but still friendly, as if you are giving personal advice. When you want to express a habit of thinking, you can use, I tend to think that. For instance, I tend to think that people are more creative when they work together. This phrase shows reflection and personality. And finally, in this section, when you want to speak with strong confidence or passion, you can say, I strongly believe that. For example, I strongly believe that small daily progress leads to big success. This phrase adds strength and motivation to your words. As you can see, these 15 phrases allow you to express your ideas in many tones, from soft and thoughtful to confident and strong. Try using them in your daily life. The more you use them, the more natural your English will sound. Once you have learned how to express your opinion, the next important step is learning how to agree politely with others. Agreeing is not just about saying yes. It's about showing that you listen, that you value what others say, and that you can build connection through shared understanding. One of the simplest and most useful ways to agree is, I agree with you. This short phrase fits in almost every conversation. For example, I agree with you. Learning through practice really works. It sounds natural, friendly, and respectful. Another way to show agreement is, that's true. It's short but very common in both casual and formal situations. Imagine a friend says, English pronunciation takes time. You can reply, that's true, but every day it gets a bit easier. It keeps the conversation warm and open. You can also say, you're right about that. This phrase sounds slightly stronger and more specific. For example, you're right about that. We do need more time to prepare. It shows that you listened carefully and understood their point. If you want to express stronger support, you can simply say, absolutely. This single word carries a lot of energy. For instance, absolutely, that's such a good idea. It's confident and positive, perfect for quick reactions in meetings or friendly chats. Similarly, exactly is another one-word response that sounds clear and enthusiastic. When someone says something that matches your thoughts, you can reply, exactly. That's what I was thinking too. It makes you sound focused and engaged. Sometimes, when you want to emphasize that you completely agree, you can use, I couldn't agree more. This means you fully share the same opinion. For example, I couldn't agree more. Communication really is the key to teamwork. It sounds genuine and powerful. In group discussions, you can also show support with, that's a good point. This phrase works especially well when you want to highlight someone's idea. For instance, that's a good point. Maybe we should plan ahead next time. It encourages others and keeps the talk positive. If you want to agree in a more personal way, you can say, I feel the same way. For example, I feel the same way about learning English. Sometimes it's difficult, but it's also rewarding. This phrase shows emotion and connection. When someone expresses exactly what you were going to say, you can use, you took the words right out of my mouth. For instance, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was thinking the same thing. It's friendly and a little playful, perfect for casual or creative settings. And finally, you can use, I see what you mean to show that you understand and agree at least partly. For example, I see what you mean. It does make sense to try that approach. It shows empathy and understanding, even if you're not 100% sure yet.
These phrases help you sound supportive, thoughtful, and cooperative. When you use them naturally, people feel heard and appreciated. And remember, agreeing is not just about repeating the same idea. It's about connecting with others and showing respect through your tone and words. Sometimes, in real life, you do not completely agree with someone. Maybe you understand their point, but you see things a little differently. In English, it is important to express this kind of partial or polite agreement in a respectful way. These phrases help you stay kind and diplomatic, even when your opinion is not the same. A very common and useful phrase is, "I see your point, but." This shows that you listened and understood the other person before sharing your own thoughts. For example, "I see your point, but I think we still need to check the details before deciding." It keeps the conversation open, not argumentative. Another gentle option is, "That's partly true." You can use this when you agree with some parts, but not all. For instance, "That's partly true. Practice is important, but we also need good guidance." This phrase sounds fair and thoughtful, showing that you are considering both sides. You can also use, "I agree up to a point," when you share part of the same opinion but have a different perspective on the rest. For example, "I agree up to a point. Online learning is convenient, but sometimes face-to-face practice helps more." It sounds calm and reasonable. If you want to sound more conversational and friendly, you can say, "I get what you mean, though." This is perfect for informal discussions with friends or classmates. For example, "I get what you mean, though I still prefer to plan things ahead." It sounds warm and honest, not confrontational. And finally, a slightly longer but very natural phrase is, "I see what you're saying, but I think." You can use it to gently share your own idea while acknowledging the other person's view. For example, "I see what you're saying, but I think we could find a middle ground." This phrase helps build understanding and shows that you care about balance and teamwork. These phrases are very powerful because they help you stay polite even in disagreement. They make you sound confident, respectful, and emotionally intelligent. The key is to keep your voice calm and friendly. In English, how you say something is often more important than what you say. After learning how to share your opinions and how to agree politely, the next step is learning how to keep a conversation flowing. A good speaker not only talks, but also invites others to join in. These phrases will help you encourage participation and make discussions more balanced and engaging. A great way to invite someone's opinion is, "What do you think about that?" This simple question shows genuine interest in the other person's thoughts. For example, after sharing your own idea, you can ask, "What do you think about that?" It turns a monologue into a real conversation. In meetings or classes, it also shows that you value different perspectives. A similar but softer phrase is, "Would you agree?" This question helps you check whether others share your view without sounding too direct. For instance, "Would you agree that practice is the best way to build confidence?" It sounds inviting and respectful, encouraging people to respond honestly. When you want to show that you appreciate someone's unique idea, you can say, "That's an interesting perspective." It tells the person that you are listening carefully and you find their view valuable, even if you don't fully agree. For example, "That's an interesting perspective. I hadn't thought of it that way before." This phrase helps build trust and keeps the conversation open. To encourage others to speak freely, you can say, "I'd love to hear your thoughts." This sounds warm and personal, perfect for team discussions or friendly chats. For example,
I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we can improve this project. It shows humility and makes others feel included. And finally, to invite group participation in larger conversations, you can say, let's hear other opinions on this. It signals that everyone is welcome to speak and helps prevent the discussion from being dominated by just one voice. For example, let's hear other opinions on this. What do you all think? It encourages teamwork and balance. These phrases are the final step in building effective communication skills. They help you move from simply speaking English to leading conversations with confidence and respect. When you use them often, people will feel comfortable around you, and your discussions will become more productive and positive. Now, dear learner, we have completed 35 must-know phrases for giving opinions and agreeing. We started with phrases that help you share your own thoughts, like I think, in my opinion, and the way I see it. Then we learned how to agree politely and enthusiastically, using phrases like absolutely, exactly, and I couldn't agree more. After that, we explored how to show partial agreement with phrases like I see your point, but, and that's partly true. And finally, we finished with phrases that invite others to speak and keep the conversation flowing, such as, what do you think about that? And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Together, these phrases will help you speak English in a more natural and confident way. You will not only share your ideas clearly, but also build connections through respectful communication. If you found this lesson useful, please subscribe to Build Your English. Your support means so much and helps me keep creating more episodes for learners like you. And don't forget to share your favorite phrase in the comments. Which one do you think you will use the most this week? Dear learner, keep practicing, keep believing in yourself, and keep building your English step by step. Until next time, speak with confidence and communicate with kindness.